Hi, and here we are again with another interesting and fascinating career choice. Today I'm speaking to Jerry Lyons. Jerry, would you like to tell me about what your career is or what you do?
Right. So, yeah, first of all, thanks for having me. So currently I am a content creator for the property industry, but my background is quite varied. I've been a journalist as well, which led me into other avenues, which have led me into this. So it's quite a long, winding road to get to this point, really. So what I do, I work primarily with estate agents. So I will write content for them to share on their social media platforms. I will give them content they can turn into videos. I will give them ideas of how to build their social media following and this sort of stuff. And anything, I always say, if you're a content creator, you're in the attention business. So a lot of my work is to try and get my clients, sorry, attention, basically, for all the right reasons, because you can get attention for all the wrong reasons, which is you don't want. I don't know where to
Without
start.
taking too long.
Yeah, I'll be quick. So I grew up on a council estate in northwest London. It was quite a rough place. It was called Stonebridge. It was an area with a lot of talent, but not as much belief to match that talent. There was a lot of talented kids on our estate. Some of them made it in football. A couple sort of done things in music, that sort of thing. But it was an area where we were kind of sort of not. We didn't have great expectations. No one thought anyone coming out of there would amount
So
to.
if you didn't go to prison, that was the result.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. If you got a job and kept a job and you stayed, the police weren't coming to your door, then you were seen as a bit of a success, really. But I always had a good work ethic. So I just left school at 16, no qualifications. No, I didn't even sit my exams. Went straight to work on building sites with my dad, because coming from sort of like a London Irish background, that was a common thing to do with a lot of my mates. We become builders. And then for about 10 years, I had loads of different jobs, one way or the other, some good, some bad. And then I set up a removal firm, sold that after 4 years. And then I thought I didn't know what to do next. And I couldn't go back into removals because the contract of the people that I'd sold to, they made clear that it was 2 years I wasn't allowed to go back into removals. So that's fair enough, because I was fed up with removals. So I just went back and studied journalism. I think I was about 30 at the time. So it was there's different avenues to get into journalism. I was quite lucky because I had a bit of support behind me, the financial support from selling the company that I had. So I could take pretty much 6 months and do something no pay, which was a good position to be in. But the traditional route, and this want to be clear for young people watching this, is to get exams, do your GCSEs, do your AS levels, I believe they're called now, and get a degree. But what I would say, and that gets you could do a journalism degree, ideally, a history degree, ideally, because history seems to be very popular with editors, and an English, you want to be good at English. But I never had any of that. But most of my colleagues, I'd say 90% of my colleagues that I've ever worked with over the sort of, I don't know, 16 years I've been a journalist. But it's not the only route. And that's one thing I want to get across here today. You know, you can't be somebody with a degree. I always said when I became a journalist, you might have a degree, but you're going to have to really go something to outwork me. I mean, if you've got a good work ethic, anything's possible, literally anything. Not really, sort of mischievous, but not horrible.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It was always the one who'd get in trouble for joking about rather than being too rude. I didn't have much of an attention span, and I was too interested in playing football. And like I said, we had very little expectations of us.
Yeah.
I think our school teachers thought they'd done their job if they'd done the register. I do. But there was some, and to be honest, there was a couple that were really good, and I still think of them now. They were the ones that would encourage us to, like, believe in yourself. That's one thing. It doesn't matter what you're looking to do in your life. You might be 16, 17 now, 15. I don't know what age group I'm sort of speaking with now, but you've got to believe in yourself. And it's hard, but if you don't believe in yourself, who's going to do it for you? You know? Sometimes it's a teacher that will step up and give you that extra belief. And I had that a couple of times, but just believe in yourself and work hard, you know.
So you never thought, if you went back now, you would never have thought this is where you'd end up. You didn't have that desire, I want to be a journalist. It was
no. Actually, sorry. In fairness, I was always into football and I wanted to be a footballer, but I knew I wasn't good enough. So I thought the next best thing is being a sports journalist. But like I said, I sort of didn't. I went off the rails at 16. So school weren't really of interest to me. But I still always hankered to sort of like be a journalist. So it took me sort of 14 years to basically give it a try, which now I look back and I just wish if I could have a word with myself when I was younger, I would say, look, just give that a go now. Life's short. Just give it a go. Give it 100%. If you really want to do something. It's a really good question, actually. I would say a bit of both, because how I got into journalism, I rang up my local paper and said, can I do work experience on the sports desk? And the guy said, not really, but you can do it on the news desk. So I went, okay, I'll just do it. That was my attitude. And I just went, and I thought, anything they give me, I'm going to try it and do it to the best of my ability. And did quite well. And within 6 months, I got offered a job. Now, then I had to go and study. And study is not really my strong point because I've got a bit of ADHD and don't really like sitting down for too long, sort of thing. So the idea of studying in college.
So just on that then, because there might be some young people that do have complex needs. How did you manage that? How did you sit yourself still long enough to get yourself qualified?
Yes, it's true. I think it's because I wanted it so much. I wanted it so much that I just thought I can override the urge to sort of just muck about or go off on a tangent or lose attention. But I just wanted it so much, and I quite enjoyed the learning. I just wanted it, and I actually enjoyed learning to be a journalist. But like you said about the skills, most of the journalists I know are naturally quite curious people. So some people might call them nosy, but the flip side of nosy, you could say it's curiosity. So they're curious, so that helps if you're friendly, because you've got to be able to. I'll give you an example. There was one day, I'll never forget it. I interviewed a guy and he was on the Asian rich list. He was one of the richest British Asians in the country, like millions, multi-millionaire. Interviewed him in this amazing office of his. And then in the afternoon, I went to a homeless charity because those were the two stories I had on the day. So you saw the good, not the good and the bad, the real extremes of our society. Do you know what I mean? And being a journalist as well, it gives you access to people.
Let's do a bit of name dropping.
Sir Bobby Charlton. He's. I mean, maybe some of the younger generation don't know, but he's pretty much seen as the best ever English player, I'd say. And I interviewed him, and he was a gentleman. Probably him. I'm trying to think. A couple of boxers. David Hay, the boxer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a few. No one major, because my career in journalism was at a local level, and then I did a bit of freelance. So it was local level. When you go to the national level, that's when you get the opportunities to interview some of the bigger hitters.
It's not newspapers anymore, is it?
100%. The newspaper that I worked for when I started off, that closed about 4 years ago after 130 years. Because everything went online. But because everything's gone online, there's a flip side to that makes it easier in many ways, if you're willing to work hard and keep at it, to get noticed. Because when I was starting off, it was very hard to get your articles actually into the paper. Now, if you've got a bit of talent and a lot of work ethic,
start blogging.
Pardon?
Start blogging.
Blogging's a great look at, or blogging or vlogging, or if you're interested in something, and YouTubers, like some older people sort of look down on YouTubers, but I think they're great content creators, most of the ones who do it really well. And if you've got an interest and you want to sort of study journalism or practice journalism or reporting or even content creation, well, great place to start. Set up your own YouTube channel and talk about things that interest you, and ask questions of people, especially because you're young. You will get more opportunities to interview people, quite famous people, that you'd never imagine the opportunities you could get just by asking. you know.
Yeah, I won't keep you too long. So if there's any one piece of advice you would give anyone watching today, what would it be about, you know, choosing the path they're going to go down?
Oh, it's easy. You've got to love what you do. So you've got to love what you do, because it makes the tough times. You're going to have tough times. Everyone has tough times. But if you love what you do, it's easier to get over those tough times. Another bit of advice: believe in yourself, and work hard. You know, there's no shortcut to being good at whatever you do. Like whether you're a builder or a scientist or a footballer. Look at Cristiano Ronaldo, one of the best footballers ever, but also one of the best, hardest working footballers ever. Same with Anthony Joshua, great talent boxing, hugely massive hard work ethic. So I'd say work hard, believe in yourself, love what you do, and if you're getting into journalism, practice, write a lot, just write. Don't worry about if it's good, bad, or rubbish. Funnily enough, I was speaking to somebody this morning, an old colleague, and he reminded me of something where we used to struggle on this really piece of easy writing, which is called a news in brief. You see them on websites, tiny little bits on the websites or in the newspapers. And it used to take me about an hour to write one. And by the time I'd left, or by the time I'd got better as a journalist, I could write 10 of those in an hour easily. So remember, you've got to start somewhere, and you might not be good when you start. But the most important thing is to start and believe in yourself.
Fab. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
And anybody that's looking at getting into journalism needs to speak to Rebecca Halls, your careers advisor. Thanks very much.